Welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm Lee, and it's so good that you could join me here today for the big day. As the little teaser video I put out last week indicated, OpenCore Legacy Patcher 0.60 dropped last week, followed within hours by 0.6.1, which evidently affected only a small number of the possible machines. The big news is these versions do finally add support for the classic Mac Pros. So in today's video, my intention is to install Ventura on the test 5.1 Mac Pro. Having said that, I do not at this point recommend that you install Ventura on anything like a production machine. We have no idea how well it's going to work. We'll find that out. Early reports are good. Generally, in these recent years, I haven't even begun to think of upgrading my production machines to the latest version until late June, early July. So no rush. Let's take some time. But I have the test machine. Let's see what it does. So where I'm planning on going next will be the preparatory steps before the installation. I do suggest you look at that. I'm hoping to keep this video to a reasonable length, but who knows if chaos ensues, which it does sometimes here in this channel. We'll have to find out. Jeep, I know you're hoping for the longer one. Most people probably not. So anyway, to find out what goes on, please stay tuned. Alright, there are two things that I need to do in preparation for doing this. First of all, we go into Applications, and here's OpenCore Patcher. It should open up, and here we are, 0.6.1. That's exactly what we want. Now, I have already built and installed OpenCore here. What I'm going to do is click on macOS installer. Now we're going to get the installer catalog, and we see macOS 13.2, 12.6 gigabytes. I'm going to download anyways, and that's going to take a while. Now, as that's being done, we're going to open up Carbon Copy Cloner. At least we're going to try to. Here we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to delete that task. I'm going to select the source. Our source is going to be the Samsung T5 1 terabyte drive. Whoops, that's pretty stupid because that's the Team Group SSD. Our destination is supposed to be the Samsung. And we'll start that. Now, our reason for doing this, of course, we don't know exactly how this is going to work. I am creating a USB installer. It is recommended by OCLP that you do that as opposed to just, upgrading in place as you would on a supported Mac. Once this has been done, you should be able to do updates from that source. But let's do this the safe way. So we have these two things going on. We have the download of the installer, which we will then use to create a flash installer. And we have our clone going on just in case something goes wrong. Because Lord knows it can. It should be fine. However, if disaster strikes, I'll be able to simply wipe the drive that's in there, install clean, and we should be able to install everything over from the cloned copy. Okay, so we'll need to let these things work. So please stay tuned. Okay, the cloning is still going on. That's taking quite a bit of time. However, the download of the Ventura installer has happened. So we are now going to, here in OpenCore Legacy Patcher 0.6.1, click on Create macOS Installer. Now we're going to use the existing installer that we just downloaded. There it is. All right. And we're going to put it on the flash drive, which is, you see here, is untitled. Now, anyone who has gone through the traditional version of creating a flash drive installer, going through a terminal, realizes this takes a long time. What they're doing here is simply automating that so you don't have to type in all those commands. And I see I need to authenticate. Now it can actually begin. Alright, this, as I say, is going to take a while. So, I will spare you that time. Please stay tuned. Well, here we are back again. Nothing is ever easy. This is Carbon Copy Cloner. The backup completed successfully. On my third try, my first effort failed when the drive suddenly seemed to get disconnected somehow. The second attempt threw errors. Honestly, I don't think the problem was the drive itself. I was using Samsung T5. It's been a great drive. I think it was the cord. The only USB-C to USB-A cord I was able to lay my hands on quickly was this huge, long thing that I will use to charge iPads while I'm still using them. Well, anyway, I ended up using a completely different drive, and as we see, the backup has completed successfully. So we are ready on that score. We can close out of Carbon Copy Cloner. Now, the installation of macOS Ventura, or the installer, that is. A couple of points I should make. One, when you go to download the installer, you will get a warning from OpenCore Legacy Patcher that Ventura is not supported on 5.1. And it says why. What it's referring to, and this is important for people to note, is that there is a problem with Ventura and USB 1.1 controllers. Now, you would say to yourselves, well, heck, my 5.1 Mac Pro doesn't have USB 1.1. Why is that even an issue? It's not the ports on the machine. It's the devices themselves. There are a lot of USB devices that require very low power that actually function with USB 1.1. And importantly, that can include keyboards and pointing devices, trackpads or mice. So you'll need to ascertain whether or not you have a USB 1.1 keyboard and or pointing device. Because what you would find is once you boot into macOS Recovery, which is what the installer does, you would have no keyboard or mouse, making it impossible to navigate. So that's an important thing to realize. There is a workaround if you use a USB 2.0 hub, plug the keyboard in and mouse into the hub, and then plug that into one of your USB 2 ports on the Mac Pro. You wouldn't have a problem. I have used for years the traditional aluminum Apple keyboards. Those are actually intended as USB 2 hubs. So if you've got whatever your mouse is plugged into that, which I think is what most people do, then plug that into the machine, you won't have a problem. So if you do encounter a problem interposing a USB 2 hub in between your USB 1.1 device and the computer, will give you access to keyboard and mouse while doing the installation. All right, now the other thing to point out, I had to take multiple efforts, and I don't really know what was going wrong. My first two tries at creating the installer both failed. One failed pretty early. The second one seemed to finish, and then at the very end, we got a failure. So I tried it again. That may have been the flash drives I was using. I really don't know. But I finally got one in there that actually worked. So I guess we're ready to go. What I'll need to do now is to shut down the screen recording, and I will then reboot the computer and hopefully start the installation. Stay tuned. All right. Now, we have just hit the power button on the machine. Should chime soon. Okay. Now, okay. Let's do it. Now, by the way, I've had a problem with this machine in that it hasn't always wanted to show the OpenCore bootloader. So when I started at that time, I just kept tapping one of the arrow keys and it came up. Maybe it would have come up anyway. All right. Here we go. And now we're rolling along. This, of course, is a new experience. I've never installed Ventura. I've never installed Ventura on a supported Mac, actually. I'm not really an early adopter. Okay. And if we go over here to the other screen, now we are here in recovery. Okay. Install macOS Ventura. Okay, and here we are. Continue. It is slow responding. Of course, it is USB 2, to be sure. Okay, license agreement. Yes, yes, yes. Stop nagging me. Okay, we're going to install onto Team Group over the top of the current Monterey installation, noting that it is backed up. And now, it will be more than 23 minutes. I should say it's about 1:44 now. But I will monitor this for you and bring you back if something interesting happens or if I get bored and just feel like wanting to say something. So please stay tuned. Okay, the installer screen, and there goes the focusing, here we go, has just flashed off. And from what I see in the verbose output, we're restarting now. Well, you should see the verbose output pop up again quite quickly. Or not. I don't usually encourage people to subscribe, but if you appreciate this kind of riveting content, and here's our verbose output again. I'm basically at this point waiting for the ramrod display, assuming that will be a part of this installation. It has been past ones. Okay, nope. Well, that's interesting. The install Ventura screen disappeared. The machine rebooted. It then came back up again with verbose output and has deposited us here on the secondary display with the Apple logo and now saying about 28 minutes remaining. And I happily chattered away at the camera, explaining everything that was going on, and of course it wasn't actually recording, but maybe that's just as well. So yes, as I said, we are now about 16 minutes into this. Just to recap, the last clip you saw had the install macOS Ventura screen. That went off. The machine restarted itself, popped up with a quick verbose output, and now we're back here waiting again. I almost hate to turn this off just because I'm obviously not so good at turning it back on. But anyhow, stay tuned. Okay. So that Apple logo went until it said about 18 minutes remaining and then just shut off, and here we are back with our verbose mode. One suspects the machine is restarting again. And here we go. Going very, very quickly, so quickly, in fact, that I can't really tell what's going on. But that's okay. I am expecting it to slow up presently. Just wondering what that was. Just going just quickly enough. This is rather different from previous versions, and I apologize, the focus is not real good. There, that's a little better. That's always been a problem with this iPhone 13. So yeah, this is all patching going on now. It does seem to be going pretty quickly. I keep looking for our old friend Ramrod display. Yep, and here we are. Okay, so this takes a while, so I shall take pity on you. Stay tuned. All right, from what we're seeing here, the patching would appear to be done, killing all processes, shutting down, stop any big work. It's going to, background work, that should be. So it's going to restart presently. Maybe. Yep, there we go. Any time now. There we go. And we should get another Apple logo screen soon. And yes, here we are. Would probably be prudent of me to disconnect the second display when going through this, so I wouldn't have to keep flipping the tripod around to pick up the next thing. And this is going to take a while, so once again I shall take pity. Please stay tuned. Okay, so the Apple screen has gone off. I'm expecting to see something on the main display now. There we go. So far, this has been a very smooth process. I can't help but have flashbacks to the bad old days when the problems first started with Big Sur. Doing those videos where I would have to force it off and restart it 20 times before it finally installed. Okay. Cursor just appeared. Ah! It's booting into Monterey. How the heck did that happen? Optimizing your Mac. This is... Oh, here we go. Well, once again, I forgot to actually start the recording. Had a momentary scare there. The screens booted up with the Monterey desktop showing, and I had a momentary feeling of panic. I had to log in, and I did so, and now here we are. So we're obviously have to go through with the basic setup for Ventura. I will do that off camera and bring you back when something more interesting happens. Stay tuned. All right. This has been said by many people, but now having experienced it, I hate system settings. I understand wanting to unify the experience between iOS and macOS, while system preferences in macOS always was perhaps a little bit frustrating. I've been an iPad user since the initial original iPad. I have never been comfortable with system settings, and it keeps changing with every version. Anyhow, that I hate. But it is as it is. All right. I'm going to open the OpenCore Legacy Patcher. Post-install root patch. Available patchings for systems are graphics, AMD Legacy Polaris, networking Legacy Wireless. Well, that's true. This does have a Legacy Wireless card. Okay. All right. At some point, I am going to have to bite the bullet and install an updated Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on this machine, because this is I miss the use of my Apple Watch. Okay. This is another new experience for me. In prior versions, there was no need for doing any root patching. All right. I hope this isn't doing it on Wi-Fi. This should have Ethernet plugged in. Unless I was a complete idiot. Yeah, we're just about there. All right. Installing downloaded KDK this may take a while. To be honest with you, in the little bit of playing around I have done with the machine up to now, merging KDK with root volume, I haven't noticed any real issues. There are a lot of little things going on. For instance, the dock was huge. Background added items that can run in the background. You can manage this in login items settings. Well, yes, of course we wanted it. In fact, we told to do that. Okay, and we're going to need to reboot. And see what happens. Okay, we got our chime. Curious to see if the OpenCore bootloader shows up without my doing anything on the keyboard. Nope. That's funny because the OpenCore Legacy Patcher application is specifically set to show the boot picker. But I did discover the answer to that. Just keep tapping one of the arrow keys. And it will come up. Okay, thus far hasn't been too bad. And here we are. An interesting thing. Finder has settings now. Okay. Connected servers, external disks. What I'm a little confused about is that the installer drive is still connected, but it's not showing up. All right. I think we're basically going to call this here. It is a success, of course, insofar as we do have Ventura installed. We have installed the root patches. It's going to take me some time working with the machine to really see, first of all, how I think Ventura is running. Do we, in fact, have the graphics acceleration? I really don't know. But that's going to have to be for another video. I will bring that back maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks. We shall see how things go. I've got a busy couple of weeks coming up with my musical career going on here. But in any event, we have had a success. Ventura is booted despite the Big Sur wallpaper you see. Um, so be good to other people. They need it and deserve it. Be good to yourselves. Any good we do in the world has to start from there. We can make this world a better place. It is not yet. Until it is, please take very, very good and careful care. All right. We've got a Marchintosh coming up, so you'll be seeing some PowerPC goodness certainly during the month of March. Uh, I will certainly try to get the follow-up on Ventura and how it's running on this machine and get that out for you maybe next week, depending on how much time I actually get to spend with it. I'm actually recording this on the Friday before I'm planning on releasing it. So anyhow, that will come up. I've got some other Mac Pro things lined up to have at you. So until those things are available on the channel, this has been Broken Electronics.